Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to go through a quick tutorial on the new DJ Mode timeline editor. This will be available from the DJ Mode, so it doesn't matter if you're using Virtual DJ Tractor or the built-in player. It's available regardless of the transport mechanism. In this case, I've just loaded a song onto my deck just so that it would generate the automatic show, which obviously it's done. And I can see that. And of course, I can see that playing if I just switch over to the visualizer quickly. And I can see that that's playing and that's all good. But that's not what we're here for. So I'm going to stop that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to the tracks. And I'm actually going to open the timeline editor. Now, the timeline editor will take precedence over the auto-generated show, but will not delete it. So at the moment, there's nothing in here, and there's nothing been built, which means that if I then press play again on that deck, then the show is going to play. If the song that you're editing in the timeline is loaded into one of the decks, you'll actually see the song come up in the header, and you'll have play controls. So you can actually play the show with the audio together. If you're editing a timeline for a track which is not loaded into a deck, then you'll not obviously get audio playback. And that obviously, again, will only work with a built-in player because this cannot control playback of Virtual DJ or Tractor or anything else. It can only control the playback of the built-in one. But in my case, I've got it. I've got the show. I've opened this and I've got that song loaded in the deck. If I was to eject that show from the deck, and then go back to the timeline, you'll see that the play, stop, pause controls have disappeared. And that's because the show is no longer loaded. We can leave it like this. It doesn't matter. It knows it's there, but it's not loaded. So the playback controls have disappeared. Now, what can I do with this? Right. Well, again, the timeline show is your own work that will take precedence over the automatically generated DMXDesktop DJ mode. These are custom for you. So obviously, what does that mean? Well, it means that you can define every effect in every group of fixtures and configure them how you like. Now, obviously, that can be a big job, but the option exists. So how do we do that? Okay, first of all, let's just pick an effect. We'll just take a circle effect. And I know, in my case, my secondary group has got some moving heads. So I'm just going to draw that effect roughly there, just align it for that first 24 seconds. There we go. And obviously I can change the speed and adjust how fast that head is moving from super fast to a regular steady movement or down very, very slow. I can also adjust the range, which would be the same as the size of the effect as you would be familiar with in QuickShow or effect cues. And I can, of course, also choose whether it should alternate backwards and forwards. Alternate is basically bounce. I can set whether the fixture should be fanned or phased, etc. I'm not going to do that here. It's just for the sake of explaining the options. Now, in addition to that, I obviously have also the option to add beam effects. So at the moment, I've only added a movement effect in that group. That's going to make the heads move, but it's not going to light them up. So if I choose let's pick a simple effect. Let's have a look. What's going to give me something simple? Switching's nice. There we go. Select the switching effect, and I want to put that in the same place as this movement effect. But obviously I can't because I can't draw. But if I hold the control key, it's going to move out the way and let me draw in that box. There we go. So now I've got a switching beam effect. Let's align it. There we go. And that's now in the same time as that circle effect. Now I need to choose a color. Let's just pick something magenta. There we go. And I can adjust the settings for that. I can add a fade in. I can add a fade out. I can obviously set the speed to be half beat or on the quarter beat. But in this case, let's just leave it on 1/1 timing. And we'll leave the spread and intensity and everything else alone. And then if I hit save and then build, and then I can actually hit the preview. and switch over to the visualizer, and we can see it previewing that effect perfectly. If I switch back to the timeline editor, you'll also see that the masthead is moving and it's showing the position of that exact effect at this moment in time. So that, in its simplest terms, is how you can draw clips of different effects at different moments. Now, there are also auxiliary effects. So if I wanted to trigger the prism, I can do, again, hold the control key, draw that in there. If I want that prism active for the whole time, just set it up and then choose whether I have prism on or whether I want to enable rotation, etc. Let's say I don't want to. Save the show, build. Every time you want to see the output, you need to hit build just so that it recompiles it into a format the software can play back. And now when I flick over to that visualizer, you can then see the prism is active on those lights. So yeah, so that's super simple. And you can obviously do that for all of your groups. I mean, and you can obviously do it based on different sections. You can see the waveform. I can see that there's obviously a change at that point in the waveform. Maybe I'd like to actually have something occur there. So perhaps at that period in time, I would like to drop in a sort of flash effect or a strobe effect. And also you can use cue points with these exactly the same. The show overrides, the cue points, they all work as normal. And you can layer them on top of the timeline editor. So all of that's accessible. And you can basically use all of it without any restrictions. So yeah, so I can now start drawing in all of these sections as much as I want and fill up the whole show. Now, again, that can be really time consuming. That might not be the best way. Personally, I feel that what's a really good way is if I clear off that timeline and then run the AutoScript and let the software figure out where are the boundaries, when is the song changing, analyzing the energy and the mood, and then making decisions about how to populate the effect the whole way through. Now, obviously, having done that, when I build that, it's going to take a little bit longer. Yep, there we go. And preview it. I'm going to get a full-blown effect because it's using all my groups, all my lights, and it's running through the timeline show. Now, I don't need to keep the timeline open. If I will go back to DMXDesktop and actually stop the preview, there we go, and I will load that song onto the deck, what's going to happen is you're going to see that it's changed. The icon's changed now to show that there is a timeline show loaded. As I mentioned, that show is now going to play back every time you play back this song because it's taking the precedence. So there you go, you see. So we can move through and you'll see the show as it's playing back through with the audio. Again, it's taking precedence. Now, if I wanted to get back to the actual auto-built show, then that's easy. I don't actually need to do much apart from just pop in here and just do delete show. And that's going to remove that show from the file. And as you'll see, immediately it's flicked back in DMXDesktop to the show loaded, which is the green icon, which is the regular fully automated show. So yeah, so it's not like you can't flick between them. You absolutely can, and you have the choices. And with the timeline, it's all there and it's all available for you. So yeah, it's very, very simple. You can load a song in that will generate the waveform, and then you can build up that show with whatever effect you want, timed however you want, and fully customize an entire show to the track. That's probably it for this. I mean, that is about as much as you're going to need to know to use this. It's that simple. Obviously, if you do use the AutoScript and you don't like something, you can just click on it. You can change the effect. You can change the theme. You can you can modify them to your liking. If you don't like a clip, you can just delete it and add a new one or extend a previous one. It's literally that simple to create the show and play it back. Yeah, I think that is it for today. Hopefully you find that useful. Hopefully you'll build some awesome custom shows and let us see how you do. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening.